Today's headlines. Pag-asa expects severe tropical storm Vinta to leave the Philippine area of responsibility by Christmas morning Monday. Budget Secretary Benjamin Diokno denies that opposition lawmakers were given zero project funds in the 2018 national budget. About 700 former communist rebels formally surrendered to the government. And a regional office in the Department of Agrarian Reform promotes making environment-friendly decorations for the holidays. Good day. I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Vinta has intensified into a severe tropical storm, but it is expected to leave the country in time for Christmas Day. Pag-asa said Vinta was last spotted in the vicinity of Boston, Davao Oriental, while packing winds of up to 90 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 125 kilometers per hour. Based on weather data, Vinta is expected to leave the Philippine area of responsibility from Pag-asa Island in Palawan on Christmas morning, Monday. Vinta will bring scattered to widespread moderate to heavy rains, which will prevail within 24 hours. Tropical cyclone warning signals have been raised over parts of Visayas and Mindanao. Residents of these areas are urged to prepare against flooding and landslides, coordinate with officials, and continue monitoring for updates. Sea travel remains risky over the seaboards of areas under the tropical cyclone warning signal. Hundreds of families were displaced as Vinta intensified and made landfall in Davao Oriental in the middle of the night. Local officials have set up measures in preparation for the storm. Here is our report.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, in northern Mindanao activated its quick response team in preparation for the onslaught of severe tropical storm Vinta. DSWD 10 Director Nestor Briones Ramos said the agency has already prepositioned supplies in all provinces in the region that are likely to be affected by Vinta. Vinta made landfall in Katiil, Davao Oriental at 1:45 a.m. Friday. 2 houses were destroyed and power in the town's poblacion was cut off. Families were immediately evacuated, with over 300 of them currently in 7 evacuation centers. Governor Nelson Dayanghira has called an urgent meeting of the provincial and municipal disaster teams for assessment. In Compostela Valley, 145 individuals in Barangay San Miguel, Compostela Town are now housed in the barangay's evacuation center. Meanwhile, Senator Grace Poe reminded the telecom companies to consistently send free mobile disaster alerts to warn the public of the impact of Vinta. She said the law mandates mobile phone service providers to send out emergency alerts at regular intervals in the event of impending calamities. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Budget and Management Secretary Benjamin Diokno denied reports that opposition lawmakers will not get funding for their proposed 2018 projects. Diokno said that some districts will have reduced appropriations, although he declined to give specifics on the adjustments. The budget chief clarified that projects to be or not to be financed did not only come from lawmakers' proposal but also from district engineers and provincial governors, among others. He said funding will also depend on how worthwhile the projects are. Diokno said Congress has the authority to change the appropriations instead of funding it based on the proposal. He also clarified that Congress has the power to authorize the budget but not implement the projects. He pointed out, however, that there will be a distinction between those who are allies of the administration and those who are not. Bulk of the 2018 national budget was allocated for social services, followed by economic services, general public services, debt burden, and defense. President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered to ensure the effective implementation of the newly approved tax reform package. He announced that he is also expecting the implementation of additional tax measures, such as tax amnesty, by next year. Here is our report.
President Duterte instructed the Department of Finance to ensure the effective implementation of the Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion Act, or TRAIN. It is also expected to immediately submit to Congress early next year Package 2 of the Comprehensive Tax Reform Program or CTRP. Package 2 aims to lower corporate income taxes and modernize fiscal incentives to complement the expected incremental revenues of TRAIN. Duterte said the TRAIN addresses corrections in tax laws, introduce a more progressive system for the rich and the poor. He said revenues from the TRAIN will help fund the government's priority projects, including free tuition in state universities and colleges, deliver quality health care, provide social protection and conditional cash transfers, improve infrastructure, and reconstruct Marawi City. Up to 30% of incremental revenues will help fund a targeted cash transfer program to aid the bottom 50% of the population in coping with the initial effects of the tax reform law on the prices of basic necessities. The President said the Congress's approval of the TRAIN is an initial part of the gains under the CTRP, as Congress has passed 2/3 of their expected revenues from the Package 1 of TRAIN. He thanked the Congress for committing to pass the remaining 1/3 of the TRAIN in early 2018. The remaining 1/3 of TRAIN involves provisions on the estate tax amnesty, a general tax amnesty, the proposed adjustments in the motor vehicle user's charge, and amendments to the bank secrecy law and automatic exchange of information. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
4 persons were reported killed after a ferry capsized off Polillo Island Thursday afternoon. 7 of the passengers remain missing, while 240 others were rescued. The boat Mercraft 3 left Real, Quezon in the morning and capsized around noon between Dinahican Point in Infanta and Agta Point in Polillo Island. The Philippine Coast Guard said Mercraft 3 left for Polillo in rough weather as Visayas braced for Tropical Storm Vinta. The boat was allowed to sail because there were no storm warning in or around Real or Polillo. Search and rescue operations are still ongoing. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian denounced as insensitive the Christmas party of the Philippine charity sweepstakes, which reportedly cost 6 million pesos. Gatchalian said staging the party in a luxurious 5-star hotel and extravagantly spending millions is an ostentatious display of insensitivity on the part of the PCSO. He said the PCSO is supposed to practice austerity and prudence since they are accountable for the budget being entrusted to them. He pointed out that it was clear that the decision to hold a lavish party showed that they were numb and had no conscience, especially when some Filipinos are recovering from calamity. Malacanang earlier assured that they will look into the million-peso Christmas party held at the EDSA Shangri-La. Still to come, about 700 former communist rebels formally surrender to the government. The Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process leads a solidarity activity for residents of Marawi that are affected by hostilities. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
How does a year of change look like? 2017 is a year of new beginnings, changes, and accomplishments for the new administration.
One particular agency is the Presidential Communications Operations Office, which is the lead communications arm of the Philippine government and is at the forefront of covering all bases on ground, on air, on print, and online. Agencies have undergone major changes in order to bring the best coverage in the general tri and social media to keep the Filipino people informed of the news that matter. The People's Television Network is the national government's premier television network, dedicated to deliver news and information affecting the lives of each and every one of you. News now airs in the morning, noontime, evening, and late night. PTV has increased its transmission from 25,000 to 55,000 watts, making its reach much wider and its quality on equal level with its international counterparts. In 2018, PTV aims to further increase its transmission to 120 kilowatts for much higher quality and wider reach. Philippine Broadcast Service. the government's review network gets a much welcome improvement under a new administration. Radio ng Bayan is now Radio Pilipinas. From 0 in 2016, we are now number 7 in 2017. 104.3 FM2 is also number 1 in affinity. With more and more new and loyal listeners, Philippine Broadcasting Service is truly a government airwaves revamp. The Philippine Information Agency is a government bureau in charge of disseminating information on ground from the government to the grassroots level. In the new age of social media, PIA's face-to-face communication is valued now more than ever. The News and Information Bureau is the premier news arm in the country in disseminating specific government programs for both domestic and foreign media. Under the new administration, we have witnessed major revamps as we extend our reach to more countries and more communications platforms such as videos and social media. President Duterte has been the most visible president in the Philippine history, and that's because of Radio Television Malacanang's quality coverage. Access to the president and the government's events and activities have never been this easy, especially in a digital platform. Past presidential video coverages have also been digitized to ensure that history is well preserved and accessible to those who need to look back.
Around 700 former communist rebels and supporters from all over eastern Mindanao formally surrendered to the government to lead normal lives at the Naval Forces Eastern Mindanao Covered Court in Panacan, Davao City. The former members of the New People's Army were from the provinces of Agusan, Bukidnon, Surigao, Davao, Cotabato, and Sarangani. The rebels surrendered from January to December 15 this year. They are now the automatic recipients of the Comprehensive Local Integration Program of the government, which offers various financial and livelihood assistance. President Rodrigo Duterte witnessed the event and gave a message to the former rebels. Various officials also held dialogues and offered talks on government programs to help the rebels reintegrate to society smoothly. The New People's Army has declared its own unilateral ceasefire after President Rodrigo Duterte's declaration for the part of the government. George Madlos, alias Caores, National Democratic Front spokesperson for Mindanao, said the NPA ceasefire will hold from 6 p.m. of December 23 to 6 p.m. of December 26 and 6 p.m. of December 30 to 6 p.m. of January 2nd, 2018. Caores said the ceasefire is in observance of the Filipino people's traditional holidays and the Communist Party of the Philippines' 49th anniversary. Rating and Investment Information, or RNI, affirmed its investment grade rating of BBB on the Philippines with stable outlook on its foreign currency issuer rating. The Japanese credit rater expects the domestic economy to remain solidly driven by aggressive infrastructure investments under the Duterte administration. Among those that boosted optimism are the strong private consumption, sustained rise of investments, and fiscal discipline following the government's aim to hit gross domestic product targets by 2022. Duterte earlier signed the first package of the Tax Reform for Acceleration and Inclusion Act. The tax reform aims to give workers higher take-home pay and correct the inequities of the tax system. RNI said it will keep an eye on whether solid economic growth will bring about a steady rise in income levels. It will also look into the response of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas to inflation pressure. The Bangko Sentral is looking at a target range of 2 to 4%. As of the end of November this year, inflation averaged at 3.2%. The Department of Tourism in the Cordillera Administrative Region said Baguio could reach the 1.4 million tourist arrival mark by the end of December. Marie Venus Tan, DOT Cordillera Regional Director, said the city breached the 1 million tourist arrival target for 2017 as early as September. The tourist arrivals could further increase as Baguio becomes more accessible to Metro Manila. Travel time from Manila to Baguio and vice versa is now only 3.5 hours via the Tarlac-Pangasinan-La Union Expressway. Tan also said that tourist arrival is expected to further increase with the holding of the month-long 2018 Baguio Flower Festival and the Philippine Military Academy Alumni Homecoming and Graduation in February. City Mayor Mauricio Domogan, meanwhile, said that Baguio proposed a 2 billion peso budget for 2018, which it would be able to get generally from business taxes of tourism-related establishments. The Bureau of Internal Revenue reported high collection of taxes, which it attributes to the good revenue derived by the tourist industry. The Biliran Electric Cooperative has restored electricity to 65 out of 117 villages affected by Tropical Storm Urduha. Bileco said, of all the 7 towns connected to the main grid, only the town of Kawayan is now experiencing power outage since the storm pummeled the region last week. It said restoration works have slowed down as some roads are still inaccessible due to landslides and damaged bridges. The cooperative's priority is to repair the backbone leading to Kawayan Town to attain 100% energization in all covered towns. Bileco, the sole power service provider in Biliran Province, has about 34,000 household connections in 117 villages. The cooperative's initial report showed that more than 100 electric poles were toppled or with damage cost of primarily lines pegged at 11 million pesos. The Bileco Board of Directors earlier passed several resolutions to avail of calamity loans from the National Electrification Administration and approved the emergency purchase of rehabilitation materials. The Davao City Police Office received 26 Mitsubishi Monteros from Japan to be used as patrol cars. DCPO Director Senior Superintendent Alexander Tagum said the donated patrol cars will be a big help in securing the city, particularly downtown areas. He said 24 of the vehicles will be given to the Mobile Patrol Group. One of the vehicles will be painted with matte black to be used as a tactical vehicle of DCPO's SWAT team, while the other one will be used as the city director's vehicle. He said there will be 3 police officers in every vehicle to ensure that there will be enough force to respond in every call for police assistance. The vehicles will be used in securing the Christmas season in the city after a soft turnover. The formal turnover will be conducted in the second week of January 2018 in the presence of President Rodrigo Duterte and the Japanese ambassador. The Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process led a solidarity activity for displaced residents of Marawi. The activity aimed to foster unity among all those affected by recent hostilities. Here is our report.
Dubbed as Puso at Kapayapaan, Magbigayan at Magmahalan, a solidarity activity for the displaced residents of Marawi City was organized by the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Peace Process in partnership with Duyog Marawi. With the aim to spread love, hope, and peace in this Yuletide season, the activity was held in evacuation centers and home-based communities in Buruon School of Fisheries in Barangay Santa Elena, Kiwalan, and Upper Hinaplanon in Iligan City. Speaking to the evacuees housed at Maria Cristina and at Buruon School of Fisheries, Undersecretary Josita Andot of OPAP said that the activity proves the unity between Christians and Muslims. We should not lose hope. Let us all be united, help one another, and preserve the peace even if you are in evacuation camps. Meanwhile, Philippine Information Agency Director General Harold Clavite encouraged them to enjoy the activity and reminded the parents to guide their children. It is okay to be scared as long as we are sure that in our hearts there is tomorrow. Minda Acod of Maria Cristina Evacuation Center conveyed her gratitude as the activity made the children and parents like her to be happy. I am very grateful that I have seen the children and the parents happy. Somehow we were able to forget what happened in Marawi. Songs of peace, love, and hope reverberated during the event as Christmas carols were sung for the displaced residents. The joy and delight, the children also performed Baby Shark and Chicken Dance, symbolizing the season of giving. Knapsacks containing school supplies, lunch kits, and candies were distributed to the children. For PNA Newsroom, Sweet Lukman, Philippine Information Agency.
Up next, China donates 5 million pesos to victims of Typhoon Urduha. A regional office of the Department of Agrarian Reform promotes making environment-friendly decorations for the holidays. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Now more than ever, PCAO has involved itself in communicating the public policy of the executive branch. Let's take a look at the great strides we've made with this partnership. Dutertenomics. This campaign highlights the Duterte administration's economic, financial, and infrastructure policies to position the Philippines as a strong investment partner in the global arena. Defend Republic. A campaign to rally the nation to be vigilant against violent extremism and to advocate peace and stability throughout the country. Real Numbers PH is our initiative to assure that accurate and verified figures related to the government's campaign against illegal drugs are disseminated to the public. ASEAN 2017, the year-long campaign to promote the Philippines' chairmanship of ASEAN 2017, which coincided with the celebration of ASEAN's 50th founding anniversary. PCAO also covered the 29th SEA Games in August 2017 and brought the event close to home. We aided in video production to honor our athletes who competed for the country's glory. Task Force Bangon Marawi convened different agencies tasked to rebuild and rehabilitate the city and to communicate the government's action plans to reconstruct, restore, and revitalize Marawi. In partnership with the Department of Energy, we launched ePower Mo with the goal of empowering consumers by promoting alternative energy resources. Biyaya ng Pagbabago. Biyaya ng Pagbabago communicates the government's services to alleviate poverty and to improve the living conditions of the marginalized. Rehabilitation is the Philippine government's all-encompassing campaign against illegal drugs under the Interagency Committee Against Illegal Drugs. PCAO has also implemented groundbreaking policies and signed international agreements to further improve communication and information dissemination, such as the Freedom of Information Program, which allows the public access to various types of government records, documents, and research data. The Presidential Task Force on Media Security, to ensure a secure working environment for the safety of the media. The Presidential Museum and Library, through PCAO, collaborated with Google to launch its online exhibition on Google Arts and Culture. Through Google Arts and Culture, online viewers can read about the history of Malacanang Palace, find curated materials and exhibits, and discover a wide array of memorabilia of Philippine presidents. We also established the Provincial Communications Officers Network, or PCONet, where we ensure efficient and coherent flow of information from the Office of the President to the local government and down the communities. And for the next year, we have the Government Satellite Network. The network will allow multimedia content from the government to be transmitted to different barangays and government offices nationwide, even to remote areas in mountains and islands. The Malacanang Press Briefing Room has been renovated, housing state-of-the-art broadcast and studio equipment, and more space to accommodate members of the media. These are the exponents of change under a working PCOO. Join us in being a partner for change on the years to come.
The Presidential Communications Operations Office.
China donated roughly 5 million pesos to those affected by the recent devastation caused by tropical storm Urduha in southern Luzon and eastern Visayas. Councilor Sun Yi of the Chinese Embassy in the Philippines turned over the humanitarian aid in cash on behalf of the Red Cross Society of China to Secretary General Oscar Palabyab of the Philippine Red Cross. Sun said China looks forward to lending more strength to the disaster relief efforts of the Philippine government to overcome the difficulties caused by Urduha. According to the embassy official, the monetary assistance also aims to help the affected people restore their normal livelihood soon. Palabyab expressed appreciation to China's generosity, noting that the Chinese side has always been the first to respond and extend helping hands whenever the Philippines and its people are in difficulties. Earlier, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi extended a message of condolence and assurance to Foreign Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano on the losses caused by Urduha. The Philippine Navy's frigate project will push through despite the relief of Vice Admiral Ronald Joseph Mercado from the Navy's top post. Navy Flag Officer in Command Vice Admiral Ronald Joseph Mercado was formally relieved from his post effective Tuesday. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana cited loss of trust and confidence in the integrity and leadership of the naval officer. This was brought about by Mercado's alleged fixation on one company to supply the Combat Management System, or CMS, of the frigate project, whose contract was won by South Korean shipbuilder Hyundai Heavy Industries. The contract was signed last year. Lorenzana said the shipbuilder has the authority to select the maker or manufacturer of the CMS, which handles the weapons, sensors, and other equipment related to combat. He added that Hyundai is not keen on Mercado's proposal as it is more expensive and not in the contract. Undefeated Magic Mike Plania is making his North American debut in Cancun, Mexico. Plania of San Man Promotions from General Santos City is facing Mexican Miguel Demoledor Tique for 8 rounds. Plania's manager, Jim Claude Manangkil, CEO of San Man Promotions, said that his ward is now ready for his first fight abroad. Plania has been training in Miami with Cuban coach Osmiri Fernandez. The 20-year-old Plania previously stopped veteran Jet Li Purisima in round 5 last February 26 at the Lagao Gym in Gensan. He is the only one left among the 5 US-based San Man boxers who have not yet made a debut outside the Philippines. Plania won the vacant World Boxing Federation International Bantamweight title via a majority decision in 2016. He will only be making his second fight for the year against Tique. Tique of Ciudad del Carmen, Campeche, has won his last 2 fights, all by unanimous decisions. The Department of Agrarian Reform Office in Iloilo put an environment-friendly spin in their Christmas celebration. By using recycled materials, they created holiday decors that are now being emulated by other DAR offices. Here is our report.
Employees of the Department of Agrarian Reform Iloilo are proud of their leader and are not shy to show them off. The second and third floors of the St. Clement's building are adorned with various Christmas decors made out of recycled, reusable, and indigenous materials. The lack of manpower and resources, coupled with the challenge of disposing bulk of waste paper materials, brought out the artistic initiatives, resourcefulness, and brilliant ideas of DAR employees. The eye-catching Christmas ornaments, which hardly scrape the pockets of their designers, also observe the 5S: sort, straighten, shine, standardize, and sustain in ensuring the cleanliness of the office. Hernan Buenaventura, Chief of the General Services Section and President of the DAR Employees Association, shared that their on-the-job trainees taught them how to transform newspapers into beautiful decorations. Some of the materials were gathered from outside the office, such as dry leaves and twigs. Others were from materials recycled from previous exhibits. The activity taught them teamwork, unity, camaraderie, and sharing, which are all the message of Christmas. Buenaventura said they are eyeing to have this activity sustained as other DAR offices in the region, including the regional office, expressed their desire to also adopt the initiative. With effective strategizing and with the help of their OJTs from partner schools, the office was able to succeed, and the result of their collective efforts was impressive. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country.
Two persons went missing while thousands were evacuated as severe tropical storm Vinta left Davao region, including Compostela Valley province. Two fishermen were reported missing in San Isidro town, Davao Oriental. Two houses were totally damaged in Katiil, while roofs of some houses in Baganga town were blown away. Power lines were restored in some parts of the province. The power distributor promised to restore transmission lines to Baganga, Katiil, Caraga, and Boston, which are still experiencing power outage. Governor Nelson Dayanghirang has ordered a rapid damage assessment needs analysis to identify urgent needs of affected communities. Provincial Information Officer Karen Deloso said about 3,000 individuals were brought to different evacuation centers Thursday, with some choosing to remain as of Friday afternoon. A fourth evacuation of residents was ordered in Barangay Aragon in Katiil and the neighboring villages of San Alfonso and Baybay for fear of an overflow of a nearby dam. In Compostela Valley, about 5,000 individuals have moved in 37 evacuation centers. In Davao Occidental, Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction Management Officer Harry Camoro reported that the families living in coastal areas who were evacuated on Thursday have already returned home. Meanwhile, the Davao City DRRMO ordered residents near the Lasang River to evacuate after the water reached its critical level. The Davao River, Bunawan, and Lipadas rivers are closely monitored by the disaster teams. Chief Information Officer Jeffrey Tupa said all barangay-based DRRM units along the Davao River were advised to sound the sirens to signal preemptive evacuation. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Let's take another look at today's headlines. Pag-asa expects severe tropical storm Vinta to leave the Philippine area of responsibility by Christmas morning Monday. Budget Secretary Benjamin Diokno denies that opposition lawmakers were given zero project funds in the 2018 national budget. About 700 former communist rebels formally surrendered to the government. And a regional office in the Department of Agrarian Reform promotes making environment-friendly decorations for the holidays. Christmas is just around the corner. For more stories, please log on to www.pna.gov.ph or visit the PNA page on Facebook and Twitter. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm William Theo. Good day.